It is definitely an honor to be the voice that gets to announce the names, these true pioneers in our dairy industry. Each year, the Pioneer Award recognizes industry leaders who have made significant contributions to the dairy industry throughout their lives. This year, the National Dairy Shrine recognizes the following recipients of its Pioneer Award: Dr. David Selner, Dr. Joe Lineweaver, Drs. George Wiggans and Paul VanRaden, and the photographers of Agri Graphics. The late Dr. David Selner was a visionary in genetics, education, and youth leadership. Raised on a Wisconsin Holstein farm, Dr. Selner held key roles in the artificial insemination industry, spearheading efforts in genetic evaluation, sire development, and global promotion of U.S. genetics. He helped launch the first multiple ovulation embryo transfer program and served as a genetic consultant to organizations across the globe. Beyond his technical achievements, Dr. Selner's legacy lies in his passion for youth development and show ethics. He helped found the North American Intercollegiate Dairy Challenge and served as superintendent of the National Intercollegiate Dairy Judging Contest for many years. And how many of us remember the voice of Expo? It became synonymous with World Dairy Expo, where he was an announcer and ethics advocate. Dr. Selner also played a significant role as executive director of National Dairy Shrine. During his 9-year tenure, he worked tirelessly to support and grow membership in the organization. He established new scholarships and expanded the reach of existing scholarships to serve more dairy industry youth. He was committed to enhancing the experience at the National Dairy Shrine Museum, working to digitize the museum's historical archives, ensuring dairy history is accessible for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Dr. Dave Selner and welcoming his brother, Steve Selner, to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our family, I want to thank the National Dairy Shrine for awarding my brother, Dr. David Selner, the Pioneer Award. It's a deeply meaningful recognition for our family, for those who knew and loved Dave, and for the dairy community that had dedicated his life to serving. We are especially grateful to Dr. Scott Armbrust, Kevin Jurgensen, Bob Hagenow, and Corey Geiger for their letters of support for this award and unwavering belief in Dave's legacy. And thank you to the Ordo family, Paul and Deb Osmond, and Tom Morris for being steadfast friends and industry partners throughout his life. Dave was many things: a geneticist, a cattle judge, a mentor, a leader, and a historian, and most of all, a farm kid with deep roots and a tireless drive to make things better. He was never in it for the spotlight, but if you followed his footsteps, they led everywhere, from the barns of Kewaunee County to the boardrooms of global genetic companies, and eventually to his very shrine, where he helped preserve the stories of a dairy's greatest stewards. Dave had a gift not just for cattle, but for people, for building communities, for creating connections, and for lifting others. Growing up with Dave, I had a front row seat to this greatness. Even as a kid, Dave could pick out cows with uncanny precision. When the Hordes Dairyman Judging Contest came out, he didn't just place the classes, he knew the pedigrees. And not just the Holsteins, like most of us, but all of the breeds. His brain was a beautiful balance of science and intuition. He could spot a genetic trend in a spreadsheet just as quickly as he could sense the future of a heifer in the ring. And even when I had a small herd of my own, Dave treated every cow like it mattered, because to him, they did. Dave would go through each cow's classification breakdown with me, sometimes lamenting a classifier's decision, but always turn it into a learning moment. I'd watch classifiers arrive visibly nervous to see him, only to relax because Dave always put them at ease. Dave didn't become Dr. Dave on his own. He was fortunate to be mentored early on by Dale Sabo, who coached him in 4-H and helped unlock the remarkable judge and leader within him. Dale opened doors and helped Dave and others walk through them. At UW-Madison, Dave was further shaped by two legendary professors, Dr. David P. Dixon and Dr. Jim Crowley. Their influence didn't just sharpen his professional skills, it deepened his commitment to the dairy community. That commitment stayed with him his entire life, and he paid it forward at every turn, like starting the Jim Crowley Award with Jim Crowley Jr., conducting interviews for the recipients each year, and donating to the David P. Dixon Foundation. He thought the world of these men and honored their legacies through his own. One of the things I love most about my brother, he always knew a guy. When I had cows worth flushing, he knew Dr. Scott Armbrust. When I needed embryos sexed, he knew Dr. Sandy Kern. When I needed photos, he introduced me to Leah McCullough. Every step of the way, Dave opened doors for me, just as he had for so many others. Out of all the bulls that we sold to the stud, Dave helped me with a particularly special sale to select sires. Lion King, who paid for our first family vacation, fittingly, to Disney World. My daughter, 8 years old at the time, wanted to wear the Select Sires hat to school. And while my wife convinced her otherwise, it's still a great family memory. He also helped get one of my cows into the national sale, the 7th highest lot of that day. And when it came time to sell my herd, Dave helped connect me to Tony and Jake Bry, who carried those cow families forward. Later, Bill Bry told me his wise words to his sons. Buy those cows. Dave's been building those cow families for years. Through Dave, I didn't just foster better cows. I also built lasting friendships with all these people and more. When Dave stepped into the leadership of the National Dairy Shrine, it wasn't a retirement move. It was a new chapter. He expanded his scholarship program, modernized exhibits, and conducted hundreds of interviews with dairy leaders because he believed their words mattered. He wanted future generations to hear their voices and understand the people behind the progress. That's what Dave was always doing, connecting the past to the future. Despite everything he accomplished, Dave never stopped being a farm kid. He was proud of where he came from. He loved coming home, helping with the barn work, field work, firewood, anything to stay connected to the soil and the work that shaped him. Dave was also a caretaker. As our father aged, Dave helped care for him too. Our dad was a dedicated genealogist who had authored several books on family history. When Dad couldn't finish some of the pieces of the puzzle, Dave picked up the baton and filled in the blanks with the same passion. Both my father and Dave lended these skills to help others. For example, Corey Geiger, when he needed help with his own book. Dave's legacy isn't just in this award or in the photos that now hang in the hall. It's in the judging teams he mentored, the young people he inspired, the breeders he advised, the ethics standards that he implemented at World Dairy Expo, standards that were put to the test not long after his passing. His influence is woven throughout this industry, quiet, humbly, and powerfully. To those who worked alongside him, thank you for recognizing what we in the family always knew, that Dave was special. He wasn't just a pioneer in genetics. He was a pioneer in community, excellence, and character. And to everyone who made this evening possible, thank you. Our family is honored beyond words. Dr. Dave Selner's life may have ended, but his legacy, like the best cow families, continues on generation after generation. Thank you.
Dr. Joseph Lineweaver built a legacy in reproductive physiology and embryo transfer. From his time as an extension specialist at Virginia Tech to his founding of Blue Ridge Embryos, Dr. Lineweaver advanced the science of semen handling and embryo transfer at a time when the technology was still in its infancy. His pioneering work led to the first registered Jersey embryo transfer offspring, and his efforts in developing industry standards and mentoring others have made a profound impact on the field. During his 12 years at Virginia Tech, Dr. Lineweaver authored or co-authored 126 papers and made over 124 invited presentations. Dr. Lineweaver was also a passionate supporter of youth in the dairy industry, offering scholarships in his name and always making time to personally congratulate recipients. Known for his leadership roles in the American Embryo Transfer Association and the American Jersey Cattle Association, his contributions were instrumental in the growth of both organizations. A respected mentor and innovator, he has helped shape not only better cattle but also better people throughout his remarkable career. Even into his 90s, he has remained active in the dairy community, embodying the values of lifelong service and innovation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lineweaver to the stage.
Thank you very much. If you believe all that, boy, I'll tell you. Those of you that know me, and there are a large number in this audience that do know me and know me well. I'd like to thank a few of the people that have made an effort to see that I stand here tonight. First of all, my wife Beverly, of 68 years. She has one of the toughest things she has to do is get up, and so I'm going to let her sit. Our son Dan could not make it, but he was an embryologist with Blue Ridge Embryos for 17 years and was a great embryologist. Mike and Patrick Stiles, and Patricia Stiles, excuse me. Would you like to stand?
I'm good.
Of Waverly Farm, Master Breeder Award winners, and a partner in WFL&M jerseys, of which I was really proud to be a member of. Their daughter, Laura Jackson. Laura, again, is Waverly Farm and works with the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. She also has a daughter, Reagan Jackson. Reagan is a senior at LSU. She's a board member of Dairy Shrine. And she and I have one thing in common, is she's the past president of the student division of ADSA. I was the second president of the student division of ADSA. Dr. Richard Wilkes and wife Beth. Richard is a former Virginia State veterinarian and my partner in the early embryo transfer business. Neil and Sherry Smith. Neil is the executive secretary of the American Jersey Cattle Association and National All Jersey. Kim Billman. Kim is editor of the Jersey Journal. Lee and Kathy Cronice. Lee is retired district manager for ABS and one of my former student advisees at Virginia Tech. And Jim Hufford. He's past president of this organization, and he's one of my former students, advisees at Virginia Tech, and a partner in Fairway Jerseys. So I have really an accomplished group of people that helped me get here. If we look back a little bit at the work that I did at Virginia Tech, way back in 1961 and 62 was when dairy records were transferred from the hand operating system to computerized records. During that time, I worked with Marvin Singer and Ken Butcher, a pioneer at North Carolina State University. I did quite a bit of work in semen handling. And the one publication, the Virginia Extension publication 873, has just about everything that you need to know or don't need to know about semen handling and the research that goes into it. And this work was done with Dr. Dick Sackey, also a pioneer. Back in the 1950s, back when frozen semen was not heard of, I worked with Virginia ABA and George Miller, you heard that name earlier, to work on shipping and handling of liquid semen in the field for AI technicians. After freezing became a norm, we worked up what we called a test cane system. Select Sires was kind enough to go through and collect a large number of bulls, mail all that semen, and come up with canes that we would put a cane in a farmer's tank, and we kept some at Tech under liquid nitrogen. If guy had problems and we suspected it was semen handling, we could pull his test cane, compare it to what was at Tech, and see if we could figure out what was going on. I also developed and taught a couple courses, one graduate course and one undergraduate course in reproduction, and taught the endocrine sections of a couple others. The real pride and I guess the part that I really liked the most was working with embryos. Just a little bit of history. Almost 200 years ago, in 1827, there was a guy who discovered the mammalian ova. It was a long time, like 140, almost 150 years, that a guy by the name of Willett and Rosen made the first successful embryo transfer in cattle. It was 1964 when I first saw an embryo under a microscope, and that was only 61 years ago. So a lot of people weren't around by that time, I guess. But the in-between time, from the time the first successful transfer was made in cattle until that, there was about 13 years, and there was a lot of work done in the methods of collecting and handling and transferring embryos, mostly in lab species, because lab species were cheap and it was very expensive back in those days to run a bunch of cows and do that kind of work. In the late to mid 70s, Dr. Richard Wilkes called me up one day. He was just getting out of vet school, and I was on the faculty at Tech, and said, this thing, ET, is got something coming, and we need to try to get into it. And so that's when it happened. During those early years, we spent one heck of a lot of time on superovulation, amount of FSH to use, the injection schedules, recovery of embryos, embryo holding fluids, recipient synchronization, and all of those things that made an ETD program go. And then in 1979, 15 years after I saw the first embryo under a microscope, we had our first successful commercial embryo pregnancies. And guess what? It was at Waverly. And just a puny old 96-point cow, Serville Jessie, we recovered 14 eggs, 11 were embryos. We transferred those and got 6 pregnancies. So we started off a lot better than most people had tried to in the beginning. Most of the early work was surgical. That took a lot of time, and I know at Waverly that day, even though we only transferred 11, we started at 8 in the morning and ended at 8 that night. And so that was a long day. Then everything shifted from surgical to non-surgical, and another pioneer, Dr. Bob Rowe, and he's here somewhere, was doing the non-surgical part. And we figured if he could do it, then what we did, we used number 2 embryos. We put half of them in surgically and half non-surgically, and when the non-surgicals caught up, then we just shifted to non-surgical all the way. Overall, at Blue Ridge Embryos, we worked with 18 different breeds of cattle. We had worked for 378 different clients. In doing ET work, you work with the best cows in the country, the best owners in the country, the best managers in the country, and that's what really makes things really click. The real secret in success in life is surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you are. And I have tried to do that. It is unbelievable you can get such a prestigious recognition for something you've had so much fun doing all of your life. Thank you very much.
Dr. Paul VanRaden and Dr. George Wiggans are honored as a team for their unparalleled impact on dairy cattle genetics and genomic evaluation. This duo developed and implemented much of the U.S. system for genetic evaluation, enabling more accurate and efficient selection of elite dairy animals. Their work advanced traits like fertility, longevity, and calving ease. And their genomic selection models have doubled genetic progress in North America. Their individual accomplishments and contributions to dairy genetics are immeasurable, and their names are rarely mentioned apart. Combined, Dr. Wiggans and Dr. VanRaden have authored more than 500 publications. Over careers that span decades at USDA's Animal Genomics and Improvement Laboratory, VanRaden and Wiggans revolutionized data processing and genetic modeling for dairy traits. Their work enabled tools like net merit indexing, genomic reliability, and the identification of lethal recessives. Admired for their mentorship and accessibility, they've inspired generations of scientists and breeders around the world with their collaborative spirit and deep commitment to improving dairy cattle and farm profitability. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Dr. Wiggans and VanRaden and welcoming Dr. Wiggans to the stage.
I want to thank the Dairy Shrine for this recognition. It's very satisfying to have worked on something that has had such impact and is used so widely. Now, luckily for you, the speech is not going to be that long because Paul forgot to send me his half. So. But really what I want to say is that it's been a tremendous honor to work with Paul. He's a real genius with respect to the issues that were involved here and is actually the fundamental insight into many of the techniques we developed. I rather like data, and I kind of like making computer programs that manage at work, and working with genomics has been really thrilling because it's technology that enables us to be certain about some things. And during most of my career, we dealt with trying to do bull evaluations where we knew that probably 20% of the bull's daughters were misidentified. So we had to sort of try to do the best we could to get the wheat out of the chaff. Whereas with genomics, they say, well, how sure are you that that bull is the sire of that cow? well, for certain. End of story. So I guess what I want to say is that this is our success, and it's been a tremendous success and had huge impact. It's really been the result of a collaboration among many people, and I was very, very pleased and honored to be part of that process. But I want to make a plug for the critical role of scientific research that the USDA-funded Animal Improvement Programs Laboratory, where I've spent most of my career, was really a driver of the whole advance in genetic evaluation programs, and had the trust of the industry that when we came out with something new, we could usually twist their arm hard enough so that they would accept it. And I'm very pleased to now work as a consultant with the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding. They're carrying forth that service to industry and that emphasis on the scientific basis of the work that we do. So I want to thank my colleagues here that are here tonight for carrying the torch and continuing to give us the best evaluations we can with the data that we have. Thank you.
The professional photographers of Agri Graphics are collectively honored for revolutionizing the visual presentation of dairy cattle over 5 decades. Their skill in capturing the conformation and character of dairy animals brought marketing and genetic promotion to new heights. Their work helped breeders showcase cattle nationally and internationally, and their iconic images live on in breed publications, sale catalogs, and the memories of dairy families. Many of the photographers are now retired, while some started their own cattle photography businesses. Agri Graphics, founded by Danny Weaver in 1963 and later owned by Kathy DeBruin in 1990, is recognized as a place where female photographers could make their mark, establishing the role of these photographers as significant contributors to the dairy industry. As the first female dairy cattle photographers in a male-dominated industry, Kathy DeBruin and Maggie Murphy helped pave a career path for so many talented women that followed. As Agri Graphics photographers, they were artists and analysts, crafting images that became industry benchmarks. Their impact is felt not only in marketing, but also in the historical documentation of dairy excellence. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, representing Agri Graphics, Julie DeLaverne.
You didn't think we were going to let her do it by herself, did you?
First off, we would like to thank National Dairy Shrine for bestowing this recognition upon the Agri Graphics photographers. Clearly, we are artists of another kind. Each one of us had a love for the dairy cow first, with the ability to see her and bring the best attributes in a captured form. Our mentor founder, Danny Weaver, was always intent on bringing the professional photographer to us in the technical sense, and that clearly is what made us unique as a group. Not all of us are here this evening, but many of you have heard the Tan Bark Trail stories of our unique skills and attributes. While we were in the field, we'd be remiss to not mention the many in our lab and office who produce the results of our work for our customers. Thank you again for this award. All right, I'm going to name us all off now, sorry. Thank you for this award for Jim Miller, Kathy DeBruin, Bruce Pickering, Maggie Murphy, Betty Kroll, Mary Lippert, Cindy Toronto, Ken Vile, Craig Johnson, Jim Fisher, Julie DeLaverne, Sonia Agramson, Tom Pearson, Eileen DeBruin, Sylvia Cooper, Christine Putman, Judy Black, Lisa Cooper-Leach, Bruce Keel, Fred Hall, Sybil Fisher, Susan Kelly, Sarah Damerow, and Beth Herges. Now, those of you who helped us make dairy cattle photos, would you please stand and be recognized? If you helped us, please stand. Finally, if you would join us in unison, with our famous finish to the photo session. Take the line out of the tail. Thank you.